If you're a runner, you know the feeling, right? You're finally in a good rhythm, you start to push it a little, and then, bam, injury. So you stop, you rest, you get back to it, and the whole frustrating cycle just starts all over again. But what if the real problem wasn't your feet or your knees? What if the secret to running injury-free isn't in your legs at all, but in your gut? Let's get into it.
So here's the game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at that injury trap so many runners fall into. Then, we're going to completely change how you think about your midsection. It's not just weight, it's a transmission. After that, we'll get into the 3 specific ways your mechanics break down and cause pain. Then we'll lay out a simple way to fix it, and finally, we'll talk about what your real finish line should be.
All right, first up, let's talk about this really common problem that just keeps so many runners on the sidelines.
Does this sound painfully familiar? You start running, maybe to get in shape, maybe drop a few pounds, and it feels great for a bit, but right when you feel like you're making real progress, something goes wrong, and you're sidelined. It is so frustrating, and it feels like you're just stuck in a loop you can't get out of.
And this is that vicious cycle. You run to lose weight, but the running itself gets you injured. So you have to stop to heal, and during that time you often gain back any weight you lost, maybe more, which makes you want to start running again to lose it. And you see where this is going. It's a classic trap.
And the reason we get stuck is this really common misconception. We think that to burn more calories, we gotta go faster. We have to push the pace. But for a lot of us, especially if we're carrying a little extra around the middle, speed isn't the solution. It's actually the direct cause of the problem.
So to break this cycle, we have to totally rethink what your midsection is doing when you run. It is not just dead weight you're lugging around. It is an active, crucial part of your running machine.
Here's the big idea. Your gut is your body's transmission. When it's light, meaning it's hollow and flexible, it works like a high-performance gearbox. It transfers power from your upper body to your legs instantly. But when your gut is bloated, whether that's from food or inflammation or just your body composition, it turns into a rigid, pressurized can. It can't rotate. It just absorbs force and creates all this internal friction. Your mechanics are basically broken before you've even taken a single step.
But how exactly does this pressurized can in your middle lead to shin splints or hamstring pulls or even serious back problems? Well, let's break down the 3 big mechanical failures that are happening.
First up is just some simple physics. You remember this? Force equals mass times acceleration. So when you try to run faster, you're cranking up the acceleration. And if the mass in your gut is high, you're generating a huge amount of forward momentum that your core just can't handle. So what happens? Your legs are forced to act like brakes, slamming down with every stride just to stop you from falling on your face.
And what do you think happens when your legs are constantly acting as brakes? You guessed it, shin splints and knee pain. Your lower legs are just absorbing these massive, repetitive shocks they were never built to take. You're not actually propelling yourself, you're just catching your own falling body weight over and over and over.
Okay, the second breakdown is what we can call the blocked psoas. See, to run fast, you need to drive your knees up high, and that's powered by a deep muscle called the psoas. But a bloated gut creates this thing called visceral impingement. It sounds complicated, but it just means your internal organs are literally pressing against that muscle, physically blocking it from doing its job.
Now, your body is smart. It tries to find a workaround. Since you can't lift your knee up to get more speed, what do you do instead? You instinctively start reaching your foot way out in front of your body. And that, my friends, is called overstriding. It's one of the absolute worst habits a runner can have.
When you land with your foot way out in front of you like that, it sends a violent shockwave right up your shin bone, which is a perfect recipe for stress fractures. At the exact same time, it puts your hamstring under incredible strain, trying to pull your entire body over your foot. That's where all those hamstring pulls and tears come from.
And the third and final breakdown is the false fulcrum. A heavy gut acts like a little anchor, constantly pulling your pelvis forward and down. This posture is called anterior pelvic tilt, and it completely throws your spine and hips out of whack.
Just look at what's happening in this posture. That forward tilt is constantly stretching out your glutes and your abs, which makes them weak and unable to work properly. At the same time, it's making your lower back and your hip flexors super short and tight. Your whole power center is basically shut down. Now here's where it gets really serious. Good running form requires you to rotate through your upper back, but when your pelvis is locked in that forward tilt, your upper back can't rotate anymore. So where does all that twisting force go? It gets shoved down into your lower back. grinding your lumbar vertebrae against each other with every single step. And the end result of that can be a lumbar disc herniation.
And look at the difference this makes with common running cues. With a light gut, when you drive your elbow back, it pulls your hip forward powerfully. With a bloated gut, it just twists your lower back. Trying to lift your knee is quick and snappy with a light gut. With a bloated one, it's like you're dragging it through mud. Everything, from your posture to the spring in your step, is completely compromised.
Okay, I know that was a lot of bad news, but here's the good news. There is a clear, incredibly simple way to fix all of this. It's not about complicated drills or exercises, it's about changing your entire approach.
It all comes down to this one single rule you have to remember. Earn the pace through the waist. This means speed isn't something you just go out and chase. It is something you earn, and you earn it by fixing the mechanical problem at your core first.
So how do you do it? It's just 3 simple steps. Number 1, run slowly, like really slowly. Stay in zone 2, which is a heart rate where you can easily have a conversation. The goal here is to train your body to burn fat, not to build power. 2, focus only on your cadence. That means taking more steps per minute. Aim for 175 or higher, but keep the steps short and quick. This minimizes impact. And 3, maybe the most important, change your metric. Stop looking at your pace per mile on your watch. It doesn't matter right now.
And that brings us to the final and most critical point. If pace is the wrong goal, then what should you be working towards? It's time to redefine your finish line.
Your old goal, the one that kept you in that injury cycle, was all about pace. Your new goal is your waist-to-height ratio. Why? Because that number is a direct measure of your mechanical readiness. As that ratio gets better, it means your transmission is clearing up. It means your body is actually ready to handle the forces of speed without breaking.
The big takeaway here is so simple. Patience is what protects you from injury. You can't use speed as a tool to lose weight. It's the other way around. Weight loss, specifically changing the composition around your midsection, is the absolute prerequisite you need before you can safely unlock speed.
So the next time you go for a run and you glance down at your watch, ask yourself a question. Is that number it's showing you, your pace, really a measure of success? Or is it just measuring your risk of getting stuck right back in that same old trap?